We are the Detroit Praise Network, and I am so thrilled. I told you I had a special guest stopping by today. He is actually in town in concert at Aretha Amphitheater. PJ Morton, what's going on?
Yes. I'm chilling. Glad to be with you.
I'm so glad to have you here. We have a little bit in common.
Yeah, we got some things going.
And I really appreciate, being able to share with you those things that we kind of have in common. But I'm really excited to have you here because what a lot of people in this genre know is you are Bishop Paul S. Morton's son.
That's right.
But you are so much more.
I like to think so.
Because a lot of times once we grow up and you have the same name and all that kind of stuff, once you grow up and be your own person, you sometimes become your father's son, and there's so much more that you have to offer.
Yeah, I grew up that way. I mean, being my father's namesake, it was very hard for me to figure out what my path was going to be because it was kind of set out for me for a lot of people, and that was part of the reason why I kind of left home and tried to figure out what my path was. And now I've since moved back home, and now we he gets to be PJ Morton's dad sometimes. Sometimes I'm Bishop Morton's son. Yeah.
Right. So your path has taken you so many places.
Yeah.
And for one, Maroon 5.
Yes.
Which a lot of people don't know in this genre.
Sure.
A very, very successful band. So how did that get started for you?
Yeah, I mean, about 9 years ago, they were looking for a new music director for the band, and they reached out to Questlove, who works on The Tonight Show, and he had just gotten Jimmy Fallon at that time, so he couldn't do it. He recommended a friend of mine. They were looking for another keyboard player, singer. He recommended me. The rest is really history. I went to LA. That was my first audition in life.
Wow.
There was their first audition in life. They had been a band since 8th grade, Maroon. So it was just really a natural connection, and here we are 9 years later, and it's been amazing. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So, and then being Bishop's son, you've also had the work that you've done as far as gospel is concerned, but you have your own solo career as well.
Sure, yeah.
One of the things that I really appreciate what you do is you work with so many different people, and you came out with Gumbo, and we'll talk about the Grammy in just a little bit.
Okay.
That's because of the Unplugged, right?
Right.
Okay. But you also have worked with the Hamiltons.
Yeah.
And so many other people.
Yeah, Indie was my start. And before that, even my first placement was at 15 years old. I worked on this album for the group Ministander. I worked on a song called Don't Lose Your Candlestick. I wrote that when I was 15, and that kind of started me off in the music business. And then I went on to, when I went to college, worked with India and then Monica, and I was with Jermaine Dupri. And it kind of just, I wanted to be a songwriter producer initially, and then started to write songs that I felt fit me, and that's kind of where the artist thing came from. But initially I just wanted to be a songwriter and a producer, and gospel's been very good to me. Wrote this song Let Go for Dwayne Woods. It did very well, and over for Trinity 5-7. I did Gotta Have You a couple years ago with Jonathan McReynolds. So I've always stayed, had my hand in gospel because that's where I come from, and I always want to express myself in that as well. That's what the compilation is about.
Well, what I say to people is that when it's all said and done, it's all about love.
That's right.
And God's love, and when you do other projects, you have your hand in that, you're spreading God's love. Let's talk about Everything's Gonna Be All Right.
Yeah.
What a compilation.
Yeah. I mean, me with the Hamiltons and BJ, Everything's Gonna Be All Right was really, I just wanted to create an anthem. I was going through a lot at that time, and I think the country in general was going through a lot, and I just wanted to write something that encouraged us all, that no matter how bad it looks, everything's gonna be all right.
PJ Morton is in the studio on the Detroit Praise Network. That was Everything's Gonna Be All Right, and that's real nice and funky. I love that.
Thank you.
So now you, this comes from Gumbo as well, right?
Yes, this is from Gumbo. That version is from the original Gumbo before we did the live unplugged version. Yeah.
So let's talk about Unplugged. So all of a sudden you have Gumbo, and then Unplugged comes out, and you get a Grammy.
Yeah, well, I won a Grammy. So what happened was Gumbo was doing very well, and Gumbo got nominated for 3 Grammys.
Yes.
And we lost them all, but the momentum was there. So I decided to do a live version of Gumbo Grammy weekend in New York. So we basically were nominated for 3 Grammys while we were recording Gumbo Unplugged.
Oh, wow.
And the 2 days after that is when I found out that we didn't win. But then I released it right after the Grammys,
so
still with the momentum. Yeah. And so then people were able to get familiar for another year. And then we got 2 more nominations on Gumbo. Well, I had 4 total. Yeah.
For How Deep Is Your Love.
Oh.
First of all, I'm a big Bee Gees fan.
Me too.
And the song has always been one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a great one.
For you to take on a Bee Gees song, put your PJ Morton twist on it, and then have Yebba.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. No, it all came together. Crazy. And that Yebba thing is so crazy where we ended up because it was such a last minute type thing. She had heard that original version on Gumbo and did a Instagram video singing it. And I was like, I'm doing this live thing. Do you want to? She lives in New York, so she was already there. Okay. And here we are, Grammy Award winners.
Absolutely. God bless that. I'm telling you. I got PJ Morton in the studio with me, and man, I love that song.
Thank you.
It gives me chills.
Thank the Bee Gees too.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's fantastic. So last week we gave away tickets to the concert that you're going to be in with Dwele at the Aretha, and so it's tonight. And how excited are you to be at the Aretha Amphitheater?
Yeah, newly changed. I mean, it's an honor for me to be on that stage, period. I've known about Cheyenne Park for years and years, and it's just such a special place. But now for it to be the Aretha, of course, my family and Aretha's family goes way back. My father's from Windsor. Yeah. His father was, they used to preach in the same circuits with Aretha's father. My dad has sang with Aretha many times. She even gave me, I wrote a book called Why Can't I Sing About Love? She gave me a quote for that book. Her, Al Green, and my father. So this is just an honor to be on this stage, and the fact that I can play it, and because I consider Detroit a home away from home. I used to spend so much time here as a kid.
For sure.
And so it's just special. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Very, very cool. So make sure that if you don't have your tickets, stop on by the Aretha box office, get those tickets today, and see PJ Morton and Detroit's own Dwele. And how do we find you on social media? I'm at PJ Morton on almost everything, at PJ Morton on everything. Facebook, I think I'm at the PJ Morton. Okay. Somebody got me. Your dad.
Yeah, right. But I'm out there.
Well, it is such a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Of course, my pleasure.
We're the Detroit Praise Network.